Welcome back to another BitLegend video. Today we're going to take a look at floor number 38, and I'm going to talk about general things, state of the game, etc. Things are a little bit crazy. The tower is a very interesting game mode that unfortunately points out all of the flaws in the game in a major way. So we'll talk about it. I'm not pessimistic, but it's important to point these things out because we do need changes to happen to make sure the game stays in a good and healthy and playable state. Because right now, there's a lot of uncertainty, and again, we're going to talk about it. So let's jump in here. I have done all my tickets, and I've exhausted my minion team. So this will be my last push until tomorrow where I can use my minions again. But the monster minion team is absolutely the bottleneck for progressing, at least for me, unless you have some unless you have 5 different teams of fully stabled, amazing monsters and whatnot. So I'm going to ramble through this. Here with players, especially this really good player team, I'm not too worried about it unless they get something crazy. Steel Foreman is an epic reflect tank, so we're going to be aware of that. Enemies get crit, I lose hit points. They get healed when they die, they get even more crit, so now we're up to 45% crit. I'm losing lifesteal, nobody cares. And then they lose damage the lower health they get, right? Yeah, okay. So enemies got a lot of crit, and the boss that we're fighting, oh, I love this. The boss that we're fighting has a good amount of reflect, so we'll respect that in whatever way we can. Probably, we're just gonna, to be honest, that's BS. To be honest, we're just gonna hope that we get good RNG and my team doesn't kill itself. I love starting off. There's a very high chance of starting off and being able to sneak to an SP shrine. There's the boss right there in the corner. Okay, very nice. I'm gonna see if I can hook this, and we do. Straight to the boss, full SP. Couldn't ask for a better map. This might be a quick one. Right. So I've got a very strong team. The enemy still does hit first in spite of that, and 2 attacks go off. Not too worried about it. Again, with my player minion team, I'm very confident with these guys. This is my best team. And since I started, it's very fortunate for me, very lucky. I didn't know that tower was coming, and I didn't know the way it was going to work. But what I had started to do about a month or 2 months ago is everybody that is level 200 plus, good God, that's one attack. Diver, bruh. That's what 9,000 total stats will do. But since about a month or 2 months ago, I decided to let everybody who's level 200 plus add me as a tank so they can use me, because Raid 9 was very difficult, and I want to focus my friend slots for people that are doing Raid 9, and if you're in 200, there's probably a better chance of doing it. Full Moon. We might have to take a look at some of these skills. But the flip side of that is it has allowed me to have probably the strongest friends list in the game. I have almost every single character that's level 200 plus, and that's almost everybody on the leaderboards. There's a couple people that don't use the Discord and things like that. Like, I've never seen Byra around, so I don't have them, but got a super strong friends list, and that puts me in a good spot for stuff like this. I guess that's the one perk of being a high tier tank, is it's not too difficult to get friends, because there's not a lot of tanks in the game. And so with that, I'll start talking about some of the issues that the game needs to address in a timely fashion. These are pretty big things. First things first, and I haven't talked about it enough because it's easy to forget when I'm filming and doing content, because I'm logged in the entire time, and I'm not closing the phone, doing something, opening the phone, re-logging in, closing the phone, going back and forth, etc. I have no idea why, if I close the phone or go to another program for literally 60 seconds, I have to completely re-log back into the game. Why is that? And it wouldn't be such an issue, but re-logging back into the game takes a ridiculous amount of time. You have like 4 different login screens. They all take time. You got to tap the screen now. It doesn't feel very responsive. What is going on there? So for the number 1 quality of life, well, the number 2, there's a number 1's coming. But for the number 2 thing, my goodness, why is re-logging such a pain in the butt? And why does it take so long? And why do I have to re-log after tabbing out of the game for a minute? I can literally, let's say my girlfriend's talking to me, I close my phone, I'm talking to her, 60 seconds, that convo's done, I open up the phone again, gotta re-log. Seriously? Does it save some sort of server stress to auto-log people out? Other games do this as well. I don't know why they do it, because many more games that I play, for example, playing Guardian Tales, I can close my phone for an hour, come back in, it gives me a little pop that says, do you want to relog? I click the button, I'm instantly online like nothing happened. And there's many other games, etc., that do similar things. If you feel the same way, let me know in the comments, because oh my goodness, that bothers me so much more than it should. And if you're actually doing stuff and enjoying the fact that your game is mobile and you're out in the world doing whatever, it's a pain in the butt. If you're sitting on your computer playing it on an emulator, you're not going to notice it because you're just going to log in and leave it logged in. And it's not a big deal. But my goodness. Number 2, combat speed. Right now, you're not seeing it because they have such a massive player team that they just blow everything up. The reason why, you might wonder why I'm not showing any more tower videos, especially with the solo content, is because my minion team, it's a good minion team by all standards. I think I'm still in the top 1% on like how good my minion team is. However, it's so bad. The combat speed is, since my minion team, the damage is so bad and so slow that combat takes forever. The combat speed takes forever. I click an attack and I wait maybe over 60 seconds to get my next turn off, because the enemies have such high speed and I do no damage. I gotta do a billion different attacks to kill anything. Maybe that's mainly a tank issue, but I'm pretty sure that DPS players probably feel that when they get really high in level in solo content, if their character can't completely kill everything with one full launch, and they actually have to have their minions do something, oh my goodness, it takes forever. And there's a couple issues for this. Number 1, the combat speed multiplier, I believe, is where it should be fixed. That multiplier should go up to x50. Not joking, I'm not exaggerating. In other comparable games, they can go up to x50, maybe even x100. But I'm very thankful to have x3, and I think the game would almost be unplayable without it. But let's see, times 5, times 10, times 25, times 50. I think all of that should be put into guild perks, because guild perks are lacking right now. Guild perks lacking isn't a game-breaking situation, but it should be improved. But oh my goodness, it takes so freaking long to do any content at all. It takes forever. And you even though like you're doing raids and stuff and you have players on your team, even in raids, combat takes a long time. Raids are like over 10 minutes for a lot of people. I have a monster team. I think we've got it down to like 6 minutes or so. But if you're doing 10 raids a day, that's an hour. If you're doing 20 raids a day, that's 2 hours plus all the other regen that you have. So your daily regen, without even trying to push anything, is right around 3 hours. And again, I have probably the best team to do this in the game, so I can only assume that everybody else is taking even longer, or they're doing lower content. So combat takes forever. The other issue with combat is that the attacks have to be fixed. Projectiles take too long as far as the animations. And if you have an attack that hits multiple enemies, it hits them all individually. So it'll hit slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, instead of hitting everybody at the same time. Pet procs do the same way. Sanctuary talent does the same thing, et cetera, et cetera. It's bad. So they need to fix all that. Hopefully I didn't just cut off a bunch of the video. Maybe we caught that. But anywho, combat takes way too long. And it absolutely needs a fix. It's to the point right now where the daily regen, it's very nice to have things to do. I mean, it's very rare to have the complaint of my free-to-play mobile game gives me too much content. But the issue is it's so slow, and in the moments where you have to manually play, it takes so long. You literally press the button and wait 60 seconds plus to have your second turn. It's a turn-based game. It shouldn't be that way. It should be very responsive, and if you need to, you can slow things down. What else? The list is long. I want to make it the best hits. Other stuff that I really should be talking about in this video is the total stats of gear. As you can see, old man Kraken, he is upgrading some stuff. When Destiny first came out, my advice was, please, for the love of God, do not raise total stats on this gear. We literally just got Guild Boss. We literally just got Guild Boss 5. Raid 9 came out and had the same total stats as 8 and Guild Boss for those reasons. Everybody that is given input has said, don't raise total stats again because you're going to kill the current gear that is out. What happened? Destiny came out. I was told that Destiny gear will have total stats between Guild Boss set and the Transcendent weapons like Thunder Fury. It will not have more than Thunder Fury. And what happened? We now have items that have more total stats than Thunder Fury, more total stats than Axe. And I'm not saying this because I care about Thunder Fury. I knew that making that weapon was a risk. I'm fine with it. I'm talking about the general health of the game. Diver made this Axe, and he got it to refined level 20, which is the highest this Axe can possibly go. And his Axe was best in slot for right around 24 hours because he has now gotten weapons that had a higher base stat than this Axe. So you can argue about skills, you can argue about the bonuses. These bonuses here are really, really good. However, how much total stats would it take for an item that has somewhat inferior bonuses to beat this weapon? You know? It's a big investment to get this thing. If you think about all the materials that it takes, I think it was like 30 times more expensive to make the Axe than it was to make Thunder Fury. And now there's easier ways to make the Axe. You've got the guild stones and things that you can use, but why would you even bother? Why would you bother? You need a guild material from killing Guild Boss 5. There's only one guild in the game doing it. It's a rare drop. We've killed it like, 4 times by now? We've only seen the Axe piece once. Why would you even bother? Then you have to fight up for the Axe piece against all your other DPS guildies. Maybe everybody wants it, etc. Well, now this Axe is dead. It's still a good item, but why would you even bother? And same thing with Thunder Fury. We've seen items in game. I wish you could look at other people's items right now. But there's some pictures in the Discord of different items that have comparable bonuses to Thunder Fury. I've seen an item that had, it was like 4 damage mit, 1 absorb, a bunch of other stuff, and it had a higher base stats than my Thunder Fury. So, okay. And the thing is, I'm not salty about that. I could destroy my Thunder Fury now, and it wouldn't really be that big of a deal. But my concern, the reason why I had to pause to make this video to kind of like make sure that I'm being a little bit more level-headed about it, is that it gives no stability to the game itself, and it completely kills the player's confidence in items. You know, why would you even bother doing your 21 Guild Boss attacks and signing up for Guild Boss 5 and doing all the things when the gear from that was only even relevant for a month or two? And you might say, well, you need the Guild Boss gear to gear up so you can do tower. No, that's not true. Now that so many players are strong, a lot of players are 6K and 7K total stats as of today and yesterday, getting a team that can do Raid 9 is actually easy enough. And what you can do is you do Raid 9, you go to the store and you buy your Destiny chest. The Destiny chest will drop a Destiny item that is the equivalent from between floor 25 and 40. So the TS increases every level, but you get a random Destiny piece. You could theoretically just get a bunch of Destiny out of the chest. It'll take time, but you can do it. And just put on a bunch of Destiny gear, upgrade it. Even if the bonuses are crap, your total stats will be crazy. And that would allow you to push the tower somewhat respectably until you got stuck and you got better Destiny items and you went on and on from there. And of course, with reforging. So that completely nullifies the Guild Boss situation. And a lot of guilds have put a lot of time in Guild Bosses. And yeah, more Guild Bosses I'm sure will come. But we have a history. If it happens once, okay. It happens 2 or 3 times. We're like 4 or 5 times where new gear has come out faster, sooner than you're able to gear up the current gear. So we have no reason to expect the same thing not to happen again with Destiny gear. Let's say you spend all your resources, you run a bunch of raids, you get your Destiny gear, it's really good, or good enough. You do a bunch of tower, you get Destiny gear, it's good enough. And then the new set of guild bosses come out and they have total stats that's even higher. So as a player, it's confusing. Why would I upgrade anything with Refine if it's only going to last me a month, a couple weeks, or in the case of the Transcendent Axe, 24 hours, right? So that's my concern. It completely kind of kills the the confidence that you can have. You know, if I go and make the minion Sword God better be pretty freaking good for months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. I'm thinking 4 to 6 months is how long gear and content should last. And it's rough, fellas, it's rough. So with all things, I do give them the benefit of the doubt. They have made a ton of content. They've done a lot of really cool stuff in the turn-based RPG space. And when something happens and it's not great, they definitely do fix things in a timely manner. But this is some critical stuff. I'm frustrated because I gave input that could have avoided all this stuff. These are not new issues. This is stuff that I've been talking about since the launch of the game. Tanks have always been behind DPS. It's always been something that needs to be addressed. I thought that augments were going to do that, but they didn't happen. And as far as the stability of the game, the certainty of the game, I don't mind things getting shook up. In fact, I actually really, really, really like the idea of a bunch of RNG bonuses where players end up having very unique builds and you're constantly looking for new gear to slightly improve and things like that. I think that's great. And in fact, if I was running the show, that's what I'd be doing. But I wouldn't have done it this way. We got two main errors. One is you're completely smashing the existing meta of gear. So as a guild leader, I'm like, do people even want to do guild bosses anymore? I'm literally going to have that conversation in chat, like in guild chat. Hey, so you guys want to bother with Guild Boss 5? We might as well. We're already there. Does anybody care? Everybody update your BIS list. Do you even want the gear anymore? I'm trashing Guild Boss 5 gear. In fact, I was trashing Guild Boss 5 gear almost the entire time of Guild Boss 5. I mean, it just shows that they need a little bit more foresight on what they're coming out with. How is clearing Guild Boss 5 going to be the crown jewel of achievement if no one even wants the loot from it? And if you get the loot, how long is it going to last? The Guild Boss 5 takes so many nuggets to upgrade that gear. It's like 140 nuggets to upgrade a Guild Boss 5 piece. Why would you even bother? Doesn't make any sense. But anyways, so I'm frustrated because I gave feedback that would have avoided all of this stuff. And of course, you know, game developers, they're going to do what they want to do. I get that. I'd be doing different things if I was in the situation. I get that, but it just seems so obvious, and you have a bunch of advisors that have a ton of experience in the space. Everyone said, don't increase total stats. And everyone didn't even think to have to say, don't increase total stats higher than the transcendent weapons. Like, that's a no-brainer. So my other concern is, will we just see a bunch of Band-Aid fixes? Is that what's going on? We're just going to see a bunch of quick Thunder Fury, yeah, that's kind of in the axe. It's kind of messed up that they have lower total stats than some gear you can just get from doing tower. Okay, let's slap 500 total stats on Thunder Fury. Like, what? How is that the way to do it? Maybe that's going to be the thing. Or, okay, well, you can refine any item to 20. Well, Thunder Fury and Axe of Woe, you can refine them to 25. Go at it. It's like, what? Why would I want to invest resources in a weapon that is already questionable? Is like you're putting too much resources into something that doesn't make any sense. And then the last thing I'll talk about, because I've got more on the list, but the last thing I'll talk about is the whole refine mechanic. I know it's very popular in Asian games and super grindy games and stuff like that. The problem is when you have so much invested in items and so much of the total stats invested in items, so much of the gold and the player resources invested in the items, that it locks you into your build. You can't try different builds. Very difficult to try different gear. If you're a tank, you want to go DPS, good luck with that. You're completely starting over from scratch. And if you want to modify your gear or your build or something like that, it's going to be really rough. Now, you might hit a point where you've got the gear that you want and you start capping on resources, and then eventually that amazing Destiny drop does come and then you're in a good spot for it. But good God, it'll probably take anybody. I think the strongest pushing players right now, they could probably get a full set of Destiny in a month and plus 15 it. And the super crazy boys, because we do have a couple of those, could probably start talking about plus 20 on Destiny pieces in another month, so 2 months total. But my question is, how long will that gear last? Will we have new guild bosses in a month, and then that'll completely wipe out this stuff, and then all that time was wasted? Or what the hell's going on? So that's my long ratty video. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.